Welcome everyone to live stream 22 of the space shooter DevVenture. And I'm sorry that I'm a bit late today. And also I have to make an announcement just at the beginning that this live stream is going to be a little bit shorter than normal because I have to go somewhere at 3 o'clock. And that means that I won't be able to extend the live stream even though I was late, like I normally can. So let's continue while we have the time. Let's continue with getting this thing to work as it used to in a more scalable way. Okay. Update enemy ships and update waypoints, right? Yeah, this is where we left off. We tried to make the enemy ship controller handle multiple enemies and multiple waypoints, as opposed to just one enemy handling multiple waypoints. Now we're extending that towards as many enemies as are required, right? And if I open up the doodle, or whatever you want to call it, the diagram, the drawings from yesterday, if I open that up with Krita, then you'll see that yeah, here we go. Using the old size and going up until, but not including the new size, will extend exactly as many as we want, right? So the for loop starting and ending points was correct. So now we just say from old size up to, but not including the updated size, and then repeat the same loop as we had in the ready function, right? Because these are brand new waypoints or enemy ships, and that means that they need to be treated like brand new waypoints or enemy ships. So now that that's done, I need to be able to specify in testing seek behavior here on top, I need a scene initializer resource, right? So let's do that. Let's create a resource that handles all of the where are my resources? Is it under assets? Yeah, okay. Let's create a resource for, okay, let me make a folder first called targets. Okay, and then add all of these waypoint, or rather target resources into it. And now I suppose target's going to stop having the target generic resource. Okay, at least it does have it. That's good. That's good. And then waypoint should have a target waypoint. Script behavior waypoint. It should have target waypoint. Yes, okay, good. Then it's working. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now let's create a new folder for level configs. Okay. Now I need to create a resource called level config and then create variants of that, right? So let's do this. We create a new resource. We'll call it level config. Is of type resource, and we'll create that in level config. So that would be level config dash generic. And then we open up the TRES and give it a script. extends resource. We give it a class name. Level config. And then save this. We'll just make sure we know where this is. Show in file system. Level configs, level config generic tres. I'm just trying to keep the same nomenclature, or as other people might say, naming convention. It's the same thing. Level config. Right. Then if I open up level config, I can say extends resource, not node. Give it a class name. Level config. And then save that. Go to resources again into level configs. And instead, I can attach this script to it. Right. So now I want an export variable called enemy ships. Excuse me. Enemy ships is of type integer, and we give that a variable count on average of 1. We want, well, 0 actually. The default should be that there are no enemy ships in a scene, right? Because yeah, in a testing environment, you don't necessarily want. Actually, no, that's an exceptional case. At least one enemy in a scene, right? An exceptional case would be 0. So in firing range, test flight, you don't really want an enemy there. So then you would specify in those scenes using the level config. You would specify, okay, I don't want any enemies, any enemy ships. I don't want any waypoints. So then you add that in, right? And as an exceptional value. And then the same thing here at export variable waypoints, also of type integer. We also set this default value to, okay, we'll set it to 3. 4. How many vertices are there in a tetrahedron? It's got a triangular based pyramid. We'll just say 4, right? Because it's got 3 at the bottom and 1 on the top, so it makes a pyramid. So 4 waypoints. And then I want to make a level config resource that I can, excuse me, that I can attach to each level. This will help me customize the number of enemy ships and waypoints without needing to rewrite the same script for each level. Here is what I have so far. What else do you recommend? Recommend me to add? What else do you recommend I add? Okay. Let's see what it says. Great idea. A level config resource will make your levels much more maintainable. Here are some recommended additions. Level name, level description, enemy ships, enemy spawn delay, enemy types, if there are different types, waypoints, waypoint group, difficulty, time limit, win condition, background music, environment, fog settings, score reward, unlock the next level, optional advanced features. So create a wave or a set of waves. How many waves are there? Player health multiplier, enemy damage multiplier, special rules, forced waypoint order, random waypoints. The key is to think about what makes each level unique and expose those as configurable properties. So a lot of these things are features that I would add in later, right? Like I mentioned before, I am very much an incremental developer, right? I don't like thinking too far ahead with too many features because I want to validate the ideas and mechanics that I'm currently working on first. And the reason for this is simple. If I can't validate my idea, and what I mean by validate is proving its feasibility or proving its popularity or, you know, just proving that it works or that people actually enjoy it, right? So like feasible means that it can be done with reasonable complexity, reasonable time, and with the available resources, right? So I am just one man and I have limited time, I have limited energy, I have limited availability, and so on, right? Time, resources, effort, money, all of these things. So if I can't do what I want to do with the available resources, then the thing is no longer feasible, right? And so then I should discard that idea. It's not valid for me at my current level or at with what's available to me, right? It's just not feasible. And then the other way, the other metric is popularity, right? So how many people actually find this thing fun? How many people actually find it engaging and immersive and fun and meaningful and valuable, and so on? Is it worth investing in this thing, whatever this thing is, right? And once I've proven or validated the feature, at that time I can start investing further, right? And start building on top of it. But if I can't validate that feature, why should I build on it? Do you understand what I mean, right? That means I can't go too far ahead of myself and go into things like a difficulty setting and a time limit and a win condition and background music and environments and fog settings and all of the things that it's listing here. These are all advanced features, right? Polished features or features that are dependent on things that I'm doing now. And I would rather come back to the resource script and add those in later, right? So let me tell DeepSeek that while I value all of the additions it's recommending for the final game, I am currently very focused on the basics, right? So let's just say, let's focus on the basics for now. I don't like going too far ahead without validating the current tier of features. Right now, that tier is the fundamentals. Okay, perfect approach. Starting with fundamentals and validating each tier is the right way to build robust systems. Here's the focus level configuration for your current needs. So extends resource, we've got that. Class name level config, we've got that. Export variable level name string. I suppose that makes it I suppose that is a necessity, because if you think about it, right, you want to be able to load a scene based on something, and you could use the node path, right, the path to the scene node in the file system. You could use that, or you could use a string, I suppose, and then have a dictionary in some auto load or global script that stores that path according to a string. I'm not sure why you would need a level name, honestly. I'll put it in, but I don't see a use for it right now. And then there's the enemy waypoints, the enemy ships, that's what I've got. A win condition and starting health. Starting health for who? This covers the identification, the core gameplay, the basic win conditions, and the starting state. Exactly what you need to validate your current feature tier without over-engineering, and you can always expand later once these fundamentals are working solidly. Let me just ask DeepSeek what the, I was about to say, what exactly does it want with the level name? Why exactly do we need a level name? Surely we could load a level based on the node path. You're absolutely right. You don't need a level name for functional purposes. The node path or file name is sufficient for loading levels. The reasons you might not need a level name: levels can be loaded by file name, so level 1.tscn, level 2.tscn. Scene tree paths work fine. Resources, levels, boss battle.scene, right? The resource file itself has a file name. So when a level name might be useful, so displaying a friendly name in the UI. So asteroid field versus level 003.scene. Localization support for different languages, debugging or logging with human readable names. But for pure functionality, you are correct. It's optional. Level config could just be the following things. Keep it minimal and add fields only when you have a concrete use case. In that case, I'll add it in. I just don't want to add features. I won't need. Okay, that's the right mindset. Only add features when you have a concrete need for them. So your current level config is perfect. It covers your current fundamental needs without bloat. When you actually need level names for the UI display or debugging, you can add that field in then. This add when needed approach prevents over-engineering, keeps your code base clean and focused, much better than guessing what you might need later. I just thought of something. We can call it the Shrek technique, right? Or the Shreknique. Shrek is like ogres are like onions, right? And obviously you build layer on layer. So you start with the core and you add layers on top of them. And yeah, so we could call it the so-called Shreknique, the Shrek technique. I'm going to make that joke with DeepSeek, see what it thinks. We can call this approach the Shreknique, or, well, in brackets, Shrek plus technique. Why do I leave out words? It's so weird. We start with the core of the onion and add layers on top of layers. And then add a laughing emoji. Perfect. The Shreknique. Ogres are like onions, they have layers. The Shreknique development philosophy. Start with the core, the essential gameplay that makes it work, and add layers gradually. Only when you need them. Each layer should make the game better and not just more complex. No guessing future layers, they'll reveal themselves when needed. Your level config is the perfect onion core. Enemy ships and waypoints, win conditions and health, future layers, like names, music, visuals, you'll need them only when you need them, right? This is actually a brilliant way to think about game development, much better than trying to build the entire onion at once. What are you doing in my scene tree? Shrek, probably. Don't you mean scene swamp? Laugh. Get out of my scene swamp. Scene swamp development rules. Ogres have layers. This is my scene swamp. Donkey, stay out of my optimization. Better out than in, I always say. So build your code in layers, not all at once. Own your architecture decisions. Avoid premature optimization and refactor early and often. So you start with a solid foundation, have sturdy walls, put on a thatched roof, no unexpected visitors, i.e. feature creep, and this might be the most fun software methodology ever created. Yeah, I suppose. What do you guys think of the so-called Shreknique? Let me know in the comments if you find it funny as I do. Or if you think it's making game development a little bit more fun than it currently is. The current stage of my game development process in this specific DevVenture is rather administrative, and you know, I appreciate that there aren't many flashy features to my process right now. But once we've got the basics done, we can start adding all those, juicy or glittery features. So be patient. and bear with me on that. As Shrek would say, don't judge me before you know me. So all right. Yeah. And so now I can go into, well, you know what? All right. Jokes aside, let's create a level setup or a level. Let's create a script that we could attach to the scene. Let's create a script that can use this resource and manage how to handle those parameters. All right. What do you think? I know what it thinks, but just trying to be discursive, you know, facilitate conversation, discussion, rather than instruction. So absolutely, let's create a level manager script that uses your level config resource. Here's a solid foundation, level manager.gd. Okay, that's a good name. Okay. Now, before I copy it verbatim, before I copy it verbatim and use it blindly, let's just go through this and make sure that it's actually sensible. All right. Extends node, class name, level manager, export variable level config of type level config. And remember, we have a resource called level config now, so that's what this means. And then onReady variable enemy ship spawned of type integer. There are 0 of them. Enemy, or are the waypoints collected? I don't know if I want to use the word collected for waypoints. Waypoints collected. Okay, we'll just use it. Waypoints collected 0. Well, we could change this to reached. Waypoints reached 0. OnReady player health 0. And then in the ready function, if level config is not null. So that's what if level config means. It just means if the resource assigned to this script is not null, right? So if there is an actual resource assigned and there isn't a blank space where there should be a resource, then initialize the level. So this is a function it's calling, which is probably somewhere down here. Where is it? Here. Well, there it is. Otherwise, so if there is actually a blank space where there should be a resource, then we push an error, level manager, no level config assigned. All right. And then in the initialize levels function, we set the player's health to be the one that we are given through the resource. And then we call the following functions: spawn initial enemies, set up the waypoints, and then print level initialize to say we are done, right? And level config. Maybe this is going to cause an unexpected output. Maybe not wrong, but unexpected. I don't think. Whatever. We'll just leave it for now. We'll get back to that. Spawn initial enemies. Spawn enemy ships based on level configuration dot enemy ships. So for I in level config dot enemy ships, then call spawn enemy ship. So actually, what I want to do here is I want to send a signal. I want to send a signal to enemy ship controller in spawn initial enemies. And what that's going to do is tell enemy ship controller to instantiate the enemy ships and instantiate the waypoints. The problem, of course, with this is now I'm going to have to I really hate it when your complexity starts running away from you like this. Okay. How do I explain this? I want to be able Okay, I think I've thought of something. I'm going to make... Okay. Okay, as an aside, can I set an array to be of type custom class if I define a class name script? Can I make an array of that class name, of that script type? For example, I make a script of class name waypoint, and then I want an array of type waypoint. Is this, or can I do this? Amazing. So yes, in Godot 4 you can specify array types including custom class names, and here are the ways to do it. So you could say variable waypoints of type array and then specify which type it is. So waypoint is assigned an array, an empty array. Okay, or you could just specify declare, rather. You could declare the waypoints and export them so that you could assign them manually in your level design. And I think this is the best way to do it, to have a waypoint array and an enemy ships array that you could manually populate or procedurally populate. You could populate them procedurally or manually if you do it this way with export. And there's a third way. You could use, again, an export with waypoint scenes and then use of type packed scene, which is even more generic because now you don't need to have a specific waypoint class, right? You could just add any waypoint scene that is a packed scene. A complete example. So extends node 3D, class name, waypoint, export variable order, 0, export waypoints, array waypoints, and then unready waypoints.append some kind of waypoint. The benefits: type safety. Godel warns about type mismatches. It's better autocomplete. The IDE knows what methods are available, and there is clear intention. Right? Your code is more readable and self-documenting. So yes, your class name waypoint can be used in type arrays exactly as you wanted. Perfect. So now I can go into my waypoint class, behavior waypoint, and make sure that this is of type waypoint. Right? So I can say class name waypoint on top here. And then save that. So now we have an actual type called waypoint, right? And if I go back to level config, I can, for example, no, before I do that, let's do the enemy ship behavior as well. Make sure that this is a class name enemy ship behavior. So take away behavior, we'll just call it class name enemy ship, right? And then confirm that there's no problems because I deleted some of the name from enemy ship behavior as a class name. That's generally never a good idea. A good thing, I suppose, is a bit. I'm going to stop there. Right. So class name enemy ship controller extends node. Does it have to be that way? Can't you just say extends node and then class name? Does the ordering matter? You know what? It doesn't matter to me. We'll just continue. Okay, so now we're creating a new script. I think I should create a new folder here called utilities. A new folder called utils. And in utils, so red, orange, yellow, green, teal, blue, purple, pink, gray, I suppose. Okay, and then in this we create a script, and we will populate this script with our level manager.gd, right? So let's go back here. We'll call it level manager. Level manager.gd. Okay, open level manager.gd, paste it all in there, save the file. So now we've got a basic implementation, and what we want to do with it is advance it, right? So we want to make sure that we have some signals and we have some we adjust the functionality to suit our current system, right? So for example, level config takes in level config, enemy ships spawned, enemy waypoints reached. Okay. And then player health in the level config initialize level. Player health is level config.starting health. Spawn initial enemies. Set up the waypoints. So spawn initial enemies and set up the waypoints should have signals, right? So let's do this. We'll create signals here. We can say signal set up waypoints. Okay, and it takes in a waypoint number, or we could say num waypoints, the number of waypoints, and we'll assign this a variable. We'll put it as type integer. Oh, I see. Well, then why don't we just toggle this out as a comment, right? So we'll just say Control K for comment out. And now there's going to be this problem. So we'll just say Control K for comment this out. And we can save that. So instead of calling setup waypoints, we just emit a signal, right? And we can have the same thing here for spawn initial enemies. We'll just say signal set up enemy ships and the number of enemy ships, and make that of type int as well. Okay, so we'll just line that up. You know me, I like having everything in the same column so it's nice and tidy. Okay. Bear with me. Thank you. Okay. So now in the ready function, we want to connect these signals to functions, predefined functions in the enemy ship controller. So now we have to go and create those signals, the signal functions in the enemy ship controller. Unfortunately, I just noticed now it's exactly 3 o'clock and I do have to go somewhere now. So I apologize that I do have to cut the live stream short at this time, at this moment. And I will have to pick up where we left off in the next live stream. So thank you again to our junior DevVenture cubes. Your support is very valuable. I really appreciate it. And to the rest of you, thank you for your time and for your attention. And yeah, so please do consider liking and subscribing to my channel if you haven't. And also please share these live streams with as many people as you think will enjoy them. And even if you don't think they'll enjoy them, you don't know what people like, right? Not necessarily. So please do share it as far and wide as you can. And I'll see you in the next live.